Hi guys and welcome to Cunning Cocktails. My name is Arno and I'm very glad to see you here. Before we get started, let me tell you a bit more about the Cunning Cocktails concept. My aim for this channel is to create some liquid magic to enhance your drinks this summer. Just imagine yourself enjoying original and freshly made cocktails with your friends around a delicious barbecue. Isn't that just the dream? So before I can start unleashing some incredible recipes and tutorials on you guys, there are a few things that are essential to creating amazing cocktails. I'm talking of course about the bartending tools you'll use, which is exactly what I'm covering in this video. So let's dive in. First things first, if you want to mix ingredients together, you're gonna need a cocktail shaker. There are essentially two different types. The first one is called the cobbler shaker and looks like this. This is called a 3-piece shaker, for obvious reasons. Alternatively, you could use the Boston shaker, which is a 2-piece shaker and looks like this. The difference between them is of course their appearance, but also their ease of use. But ultimately, the cocktails they'll produce will be exactly the same. Personally, I prefer the Boston shaker because it looks way cooler, but also because it can hold more liquid, which is very convenient when you're making multiple servings of the same cocktail. But in the end, it doesn't really matter and the choice is really up to you. And for now, I'll be using the cobbler shaker because that's the one I have with me right now. While we're on the topic of shakers, I'll quickly address shaking technique. Honestly, there's nothing difficult about mixing a drink. You just make sure that your shaker is firmly closed, so none of your magic goes flying around the room, and you rattle the thing around for a minute or so. The actual motion doesn't really matter, just make sure you look cool while shaking it. So make sure you practice a few times in the mirror. Yeah. Anyways, moving on to the Hawthorne strainer. You only need this piece of equipment if you're using the Boston shaker, because that one doesn't have a strainer built into the cap, like the cobbler shaker. You use this tool to prevent solid ingredients from pouring into the glass. By closing the gap by pressing down into the spring like this, you can control exactly what flows through it. Next up is the muddler, which is used to extract flavor from solid ingredients. However, the point is not to reduce these solids to some kind of pulp, but rather pressing them carefully a few times only to extract their essences. Now I want to talk about jiggers, which are these small measuring cups you use to make drinks. A lot of people underestimate their importance, but very much like in baking for instance, a top chef doesn't eyeball the quantities, he measures them carefully. This applies in the art of mixing drinks just as much. And finally, glassware, which is also hugely important. Why? Well, presentation makes up half of the experience. So serving the cocktail in a matching glass is gonna make all the difference. The 3 essentials you should have are the martini glass, the lowball glass or rocks glass, and the highball glass or Collins glass. And as a final expert tip, chill the glass in the freezer between 30 and 60 minutes before serving the drink to get that nice cold frost on the outside. So that's it. You're all set now to start making fancy drinks for the summer. I'll see you in the next video where we will create our first of many Cunning Cocktails. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the next video as soon as it comes out. Cheers!